thought an interesting last kind of game format as far as being real and live tackling and everything. That I thought we got some things done that I was hoping to. As far as I thought the passing game looked really well after a slow start. I think Matt after that only had 4 incompletions. I think the rest of the day after starting 1 for 7. But it was critical. We kind of had a decent understanding after these games of our run game. I thought it was more critical to get our passing game with Robert healthy, to get those guys on the same page in the emergence of Marquise Lee. And so I thought that showed today definitely. It was great to have him back, and then to have Marquise make the plays that he did was really something that we needed to see. And then if you, on the other side of the ball, wanted to really try to run the ball against our first defense and make sure that we were holding up against the run. I thought we did pretty well for the most part, and I think we got out of a very physical game pretty healthy. I think we had some smaller injuries. I don't have the report yet, but I don't think anything major.
Did Marquise Lee win that slot job today?
I don't know that. We'll go back and look at it and figure that out. And we still have 2 weeks for the opener. He definitely showed that he's going to play a lot. Whether he's going to start or not, I don't know that yet.
How come Dylan Baxter was kind of the 4th running back up or so?
Well, we had 2 different sidelines, and so he basically, as we went today, this morning, was the 3rd tailback. We went with Curtis. DJ was kind of a mixed deal for certain plays and stuff, but they were both playing. DJ really, we didn't know if DJ was going to go, so he really wasn't in it, but we were going Curtis, Amir, and then Dylan.
How come Marquise Simmons started today?
Just, we looked at that position, and he'd had a really good week, and so we looked at it and gave him the nod and then flopped him in the second half and let the guys flop in the second half.
You said obviously that the performance today would determine a lot of who ends up starting. How much should we read into who didn't start? Is that what happened?
Well, I think basically who started today would have probably been who would have started if we played a game. And so if we were playing a game this morning, prior to the information we have now after a 3-hour game, that's probably the direction we would have went. Now, there's some spots, like the guards, like Marquise and Dion, where we flopped them. The other safety spot, where at halftime then we flopped those guys. So just because guys got 1 reps versus 2 reps in the first half, they flopped in the second half a number of those spots. So there's some that were still very close, and so they got equal opportunities.
As sharp as the passing game looked at the time, are you concerned at all? You guys give us long pass plays, secondary?
Yeah, it's hard to. These are always hard to judge because you can't really win, you can't really lose, and so when you're making big plays on one side, the downside is the other side. The hopeful thing is that the majority of the big pass plays were by the 1 offense versus the 2 defense, and so you still don't want that to happen defensively, but at least it was not the 1 defense giving up a bunch of big plays.
What did you think of Max and Cody?
Well, I thought that they had a tough job today because until we took Matt out late, they were going with the 2s against the 1 defense the whole day, and so obviously that puts them in a difficult situation. The protection is not going to be good versus a very good defensive line, and versus a defense we hope is going to be really good. So I thought they were okay and made some plays, and it's a little harder to judge because of that, especially without seeing the film, what really happened and guys getting open and down the line receivers in there with them.
The fact that Max went first today, just like a coin flip.
Didn't matter at all. Yeah, it didn't matter.
How would you assess Matt's progression this fall when he ended up going on big day? Just overall, how he was striking?
Well, I think he just continues to move along. Plugs along and continues to develop his game, and I just hope these pieces that we're seeing work a little bit here, stay healthy for him, and so we can do some good things around him. Because I think if we do, I think he could have a pretty special year. That'll be obviously up to him playing well, but also up to us playing well around him.
Do you feel that Curtis is pretty established as a starting tailback right now?
No, just because here's another. He came out again, and so it's nothing against his toughness at all. He's tough as can be, but we'll still look at this thing and over the next 2 weeks figure it out, because the one downside he has right now is almost every time we get in a tackling format, he gets banged up. He came out today. I can't even remember what he came out with. He came out and he went back in.
Does today kind of
think it shows it a lot. I think that the feeling when he hadn't been here in the games before, you could feel the need for speed out there. I thought we looked faster today, which, with him being out there. And then the emergence of Marquise, was really, I think it makes us look different.
What did you think of the play where Marquise made that catch on a slant and then TJ hit it really hard, but Marquise, held on to the ball and so forth?
Yeah, scary moment. That was a big time collision hit. Not too many guys get up, especially that quick, and stay in. You could see his mindset go. Obviously, he was banged up, but what you watch there, majority of guys right there after they finally get up go to the sidelines. He tried to go right back to the huddle, and so I think that shows you what we got there. He reminds me of of Robert last year. It was the same mindset Robert had.
What did you think your middle linebacker play? Did you get a sense of
too hard to judge. Because of that we're always on offense in this game. It's not like a normal game where I can watch the defense very much. I don't know enough to assess that until I see the film. I know Lamar looked good on a couple hits, though. I did see that.
That was the battle for number 2 wide receiver. Has Cars kind of separated himself from the pack, or?
Well, he had, but then I think today, obviously Marquise, is making a running for that, with the way that he's playing. And, Cars had a couple chances to make some plays early and wasn't able to come up with them. So it's definitely narrowed. How close, I don't know. We'll figure that out.
Were you surprised about how many drops there were today?
Early on, yeah. To start 1 for 7 with a couple drops there and some plays that could have been made. Then I thought we got better after that going along. And a bunch of I'm not going to name a bunch of young guys because a bunch of young guys continue to make plays for us. But the one guy that you weren't used to seeing was Junior Palme. Looked really good in there. Here's a kid that's 245 pounds, lining up at tight end and barely knowing what to do. Having not been here very long and never played that position and making plays is pretty unique.
Does that give Cars an advantage, the fact that there's so many young guys around him? Do you want an older guy to be somewhere in the mix like that?
Yeah, you'd like to, but at the same time, we pride ourselves on playing the best players, regardless of age, and so you'd like those to be older guys because they have more experience and more maturity. But we're going just like we did last year. We put Robert ahead of a lot of older guys last year and started him right off the bat.
Are you able to do different things if you have Robert and Marquise together? Is that something that maybe can change the look of the offense a little bit?
Well, I think it would be more similar to last year. Last year we didn't have, for the first year, counting the years before when I was here, we didn't have a big guy for the first year necessarily that was starting. David gave us some things at times, but the big X. And so we were trying to get that figured out, but now we're really kind of where we were a year ago with Robert and Rojo, 2 fast, middle-sized receivers, and now we're kind of getting into that with Carswell and Marquise. So the downside is we don't have the big guy, but the upside is we're faster when we play those guys.
Is Marquise almost like a big, mid-sized guy, though? I mean, he's playing kind of big.
He's playing very big, very physical. Some of the Sarah guys were just up here this week. Talk about how much he looks different. He looks different. Remember, this is a guy who's never had a break. He's never really lifted weights, really, because he's always been doing track, basketball, or football his whole life. And so just a little bit of time we've had him, he's already changed and become more physical.
You gave out 2 scholarships this year. I think it's something that sounds interesting with the scholarship.
Well, it's just, school starting tomorrow. We had an opportunity to do something pretty special, and so last night in the team meeting we were able to do that for Robbie Boyer and Will Andrew, and those guys are very deserving. There's others too that are deserving. Can't give them to everybody, and so we're proud of those guys. And it's really neat when you see those things happen because you see the team's reaction. These guys, they work just as hard as the scholarship guys the whole time that they've been here. Now all of a sudden they get to have the benefit, so that's pretty neat.
How do you approach this next week? Do you start work on Minnesota stuff, or is it still sort of a camp mode? How do you
Yeah,
approach it?
yeah, there's a little bit of both. We'll lean more towards Minnesota, but we'll still have some of the camp format in there, so it's not all Minnesota, because you can overwhelm them by doing 2 straight weeks of one team. But we are going to start moving that direction because we don't help the problem with this conference and really college football now is our offense didn't help our defense very much. They go against us all the time, and we run a normal offense, and everybody else runs these other offenses. So more than ever, we have to start moving towards the service teams and other offenses because our defense really suffers by it, because our defense wastes a lot of camp time. You know, they fit all these runs and all these things that we do, and then everybody else just comes in here and spreads you out. So we've got to move that direction.
How do you talk about defense? How was your tackling? How much better are you tackling?
I don't know. I feel like we're better, you know, but until the real game happens and those big spaces happen where they get people out in open field, that's when we'll really know. And I feel better, but we'll see.
Did you want the tailback battle settled by today, or do you like having the guys compete all the way up till the game day?
We'd always like to have things settled. You know, we'd like somebody to distance themselves. We'd like somebody to distance themselves, but it really necessarily hasn't happened, so it'll continue to battle away.
What does it do to the coaching staff in terms of just having to keep talking about the position battle?
It is what it is, you know, and so we'll figure it out, and hopefully somebody will emerge, so we won't have to keep talking about it, but at the same time, it keeps it competitive too.
Guys, talk with any of the guys about the new celebration rule, and obviously it's a scrimmage setting in terms of what to do.
Sure, yeah, we've addressed that, and they understand how significant those penalties can be in those situations, and even in our practice, that's why, you know, as you watch our practice, hopefully what you've seen is I've seen that we've even eliminated it there, so that we're not creating those habits of guys doing that. You know, like Nikel's long return today is a classic one in practice where a guy starts high stepping or taunting. So we've really tried to practice the same way the game will be.
How about your punt return decision making? Is that something you gotta work on a little bit?
Well, yeah, we'll look at that. Unfortunately, Nikel put one on the ground today. He was kind of the front runner coming into the day. But the number one thing is going to be catching the ball, especially now that so many people have gotten a spread punch. You don't get as many returns as you used to because of the style of punting that goes on. So catching the ball is more critical than the return itself.